Yo, what's happening, guys? How the heck are you? Good to see you again. I finally got myself back on camera for you, talking about some video games. It's taken kind of a couple days hiatus, which I didn't really mean to. Just kind of worked out that way. It's a really exciting time because some really cool things have been happening the last couple of days. In the non-gaming world, really quickly, I have to say that there are probably two things that above all else, above my passion for Nintendo and for video games, that probably inspire me and keep me really happy and excited about life. One of those, the most important, is Star Wars. That's probably my most inspirational thing as far as what I really get into in life. And second, right behind that, is my favorite band, Metallica, who just released this amazing new CD, and it's freaking awesome. Yes, a CD, physical copy, physical media, physical music, the only way to roll. That's the way to be, man. Look at it. It's beautiful. Anyway, it's a great album. I've been loving it. I love having my boys have a new album for the first time in 8 years. And, you know, I'm a musician. A lot of you guys know that. I'm a drummer, professional drummer and heavy metal guy. So it's really important to me to have my favorite band finally come out with a new album. And I got to tell you, Hardwired to Self-Destruct is so fantastic. You gotta hear it. You gotta check it out and listen to it. It's great. Anyway, you don't tune into me to hear about music and heavy metal. You tune into me to hear about video games and Nintendo. So what I'm talking about is rumors. Yes, more rumors. It's just a thing to talk about. You know, we finally have had the NX revealed as the Switch, and yet still there's all these rumors. In fact, there's almost more rumors than there ever was before. But we know this. I've talked about this and brought that up a couple of times on recent videos. The reason this is exciting is because these rumors are about games, actual games and video games. I don't really know how much I believe a lot of this. So, of course, that's, you know, the whole caveat to this is how much this is rumor territory. So I have a collection here of some of the biggest rumors and titles that people are talking about. And I just really wanted to go over what people are discussing, what's out there circling the internet and on Twitter and stuff, and people making videos and talking about what's happening with this stuff. It is exciting, like I said, so I'm glad we have this to talk about. And I kind of want to just give my feelings on what I think is true and isn't true and how it'll play out and what all of this stuff means. So some of the biggest things that I've seen, of course, the 3D Mario game being a launch day title has been a big one. I discussed it on my last video about the rumor that Zelda might actually not make the launch, but instead we might get that new 3D Mario game that was featured in the trailer as a launch day game. Very, very interesting. You know, Splatoon might be getting a port. Everyone's talking about that. That seems pretty obvious. Just Dance 2017, Skyrim, and the biggest thing is this Mario and Rabbids of the Rayman series crossover RPG game. That's been a really big one that people are talking about. Really interesting stuff. I'll get to that in a minute. Some of the other stuff to cover the rest of the year, basically. People talk about, you know, Breath of the Wild getting delayed, Mario Kart 8 getting a port, Smash Brothers getting a port. We've talked about this. But the Smash Brothers thing also comes with the caveat of Bayonetta and Cloud Amiibos launching basically the same day, because apparently we're still waiting for those. I stopped following Amiibo, so I actually didn't even realize that those weren't out. That's how behind the times I am with Amiibo. So those apparently would be coming out the same day as Smash Brothers port, if that was true. A Mario Maker port. Where did that come from? And then even more out of left field, Xenoblade Chronicles X port? What the hell? That's crazy, crazy stuff. And then there's some other big thing. There's some other conversations around Pikmin 4, the new Pikmin game, maybe not being Pikmin Part 4, and maybe this title actually turns out to be some sort of reboot or something, which is pretty weird news. And then my favorite news, but not in the way you think, is the information, the rumor about a Pokemon game coming out that would actually be some sort of third kind of a side game to Sun and Moon, which just launched. And apparently, from what I've heard on other people's videos who are Pokemon fans and Pokemon experts, which I am not, is I guess some of the previous releases, because they always release two Pokemon games of different colors at the same time, red and blue and silver and gold and all these different things. And there's been a couple of occasions, I guess, where a third game had released, where on top of like blue and, is it blue and red? And then the third one became yellow, maybe? I might have some of those colors reversed. Or, you know, gold and silver, and then like platinum came out or something to that, or sapphire. I don't remember, but something where two main colors came out, and then a third game to fully support that would come out that was like a different color. And so Sun and Moon just launched, and there's a rumored third game to come out for the Switch called Pokemon Stars. Now, I'm going to get to why I think that's probably my favorite rumor in a minute, but I have to go back to some of the other stuff first. So overall, the reason that this stuff I think is interesting is because there isn't really anything mind-blowing going on here. This isn't like a lot of these rumored games are the kinds of things that anyone could think of. Oh, we're going to port Smash Brothers, we're going to port Mario Kart. Okay, duh. Anyone could guess that. The Mario thing, I touched on it a little bit on the last video, like I said. It's interesting because in a perfect world, I would like Zelda to be the launch game and Mario to be the holiday game because, again, Nintendo has positioned themselves with this great ability to steamroll hype and exciting launches. The Switch comes out in March. If that launched with Zelda, you got, boom, brand new system, brand new Zelda on the same day in March. Got it. A couple of months later, E3 2017 happens, and you've got an E3 happening 3 months after a manufacturer has released their brand new console. That's an amazing opportunity to build so much hype and debut all of these new trailers and new games and projects and maybe show off that Mario game and then set that Mario game to just a couple of months after E3 come out for the holiday. The first holiday of the brand new system happens just 9 months later. That hasn't happened in I don't even know how long. It's almost unprecedented. And Nintendo could really capitalize on this by having their flagship Zelda title released with the Switch and help sell the Switch to people right out the gate. Then a strong E3 keeps people interested and buzzing and excited, and then you dump this brand new Mario game in the holiday. Oh my god, they will sell a jillion Switches within the first year by the end of 2017 if they did that. So that's what I would like, but some people seem to feel that this Mario game might actually be the game that makes it to launch. So I have to say, if Zelda doesn't make it to launch, I love the idea that we instead get Mario to play and kind of keep us busy until Zelda releases. But it just seems weird, you know? It seems like a weird thing to do. Even if Zelda didn't make the launch, and they did have to keep it delayed for localization or whatever and release that maybe over the summer, I still think that it feels weird for Nintendo to have this Mario game ready by March and to want to release it in March. Why not release it later? But, of course, the thing is, you get a brand new game in one of these huge franchises to launch your system, and that is important. So there really is like kind of a two-sided argument to the whole thing of I like the idea of it being delayed because you can sell people on the Switch down the road after the launch, but at the same time, you have one of these two games at the launch, and you're really going to sell to a lot of people and make it very enticing and have a great launch. And that's all very exciting. So it's kind of hard to find the win there. All in all, I don't believe the Mario thing. I do put more stock in Zelda not making it to launch than I do in Mario actually being ready at launch. But any of these things could be true. Who really knows? The Mario Rabbids thing is a big one, and I have to talk about that. So when I first heard this, I was like, no, that is a stupid, dumb idea. I like the Rabbids. I have to give a shout out to Robert, who runs the YouTube channel Gaming With Me. If you listen to the podcast that I'm on, you know Robert and you're very familiar with him. Hopefully you're subscribed to his channel. I have a link to his channel in the description of all of my videos. Good guy, good buddy of mine. He is freaking stoked about this because he loves the Rabbids almost more than life itself. So Robert, for your sake, man, I hope it's true so that you actually get this game. I have to say that when this first happened, I was like, this is the dumbest idea. It makes no sense. Why would you do that? I mean, I like the Rabbids, I guess, but it doesn't make sense combining it with Mario, whatever. And then the more I thought about it, and the fact that they did label it as an RPG, according to this rumor, it would be an RPG game like Mario RPG or Mario and Luigi, the older Mario and Luigi games that are RPG-like. And I was like, okay, you know what? There could be something to that. I actually do like Ubisoft. I think when they put their minds to it, they make really great games. This would obviously be probably overseen by Nintendo, but you'd have Nintendo and Ubisoft maybe working together. And it's going to be a Mario game with that RPG element. They are very excellent games. Nintendo knows how to deliver that kind of our weird RPG turn-based thing in the Mario world. And I was like, the other thing that happened is I started to see like Watch Dogs advertisements. Robert even linked this in a chat we were in. Watch Dogs advertisements featuring the Rabbids characters. And I was like, okay. All of a sudden, this rumor about Mario and the Rabbids comes out. And now I see Ubisoft really using the Rabbids in a lot of their marketing for like their biggest new game. It made me feel like there could actually be some truth to this insane rumor and this crazy idea for a game. So when I couple it with the fact that it started to feel a little bit more real, and then also how I took time and started to think about how the game could actually turn out, I was like, you know what? It's not the craziest thing. We know an actual Mario game is coming from Nintendo, so it's not like we're waiting for a new Mario, and instead of a new Mario, we get some weird RPG Mario Rabbids thing, which is kind of how Federation Force was so insulting to people because we haven't seen a Metroid game in a while, and instead we got that. The fact that a new Mario game is coming kind of makes me feel like I can cut Nintendo slack. If you want to do some weird experimental Rabbids Ubisoft RPG thing with Mario, that's fine. Even if I don't like it or want to play it, I got an actual Mario game to play, so it's like I don't really care. The only thing that could happen is it turns out to be awesome, and I want to play it, and I play it, and everyone plays it, and it's great. So that's a really, really weird rumor, and I'm not ready to believe it yet, but it's seeming less and less impossible the more the days go on. Let's talk about these ports, because like I was saying a couple of minutes ago, the ports thing is like kind of a gimme rumor. It's like, it's a clutch. It's like, oh, okay, if I want to have some rumors about Switch games, well, they're going to port Smash and Mario Kart and Splatoon, duh. You know, regardless of the fact that I think that they're gimme rumor games to use, there is some validity to the idea. And we've all talked about, are they going to port or remaster some of these great Wii U games that a lot of people might not have been able to play? And I'm 50-50 in the sense that I think that it's not the best idea, but I also think it would be a smart idea. I just want to know how it's going to be delivered to us. I think that's probably why I'm 50-50. If I understood how they were going to deliver it to us, what they were going to change about them, if anything, and how much they were going to cost, it might help me actually be swayed to one side or another. If they're full priced with not a lot of extra stuff, I don't give a crap. I've got my Wii U. I've got these games. I have no reason to have to buy them on the Switch, so it's like, what's the enticement there? But if they're selling them at a discount, or if they're vastly remastering them and putting a bunch of new content in, that becomes more exciting. And it's like, okay, more people should have played Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. And, I mean, Xenoblade and Mario Maker, that is so weird. More people should have played these games, so now you're really making it worthwhile for a new audience to play them. Similar to what Sony did with The Last of Us, because a bunch of Xbox players jumped ship from the Xbox, picked up a PS4, so all of those gamers who didn't have a PS3 got to play The Last of Us, which is one of the best games ever created ever. And so you've got some games of that quality on the Wii U that people might not have played because the Wii U didn't sell very well. So it's a great way to get people to play them. Roundabout, that's ultimately what we're getting at here. And I do think that there is value in that. I do definitely like that. I don't want Nintendo to be so caught up in like filling the system with too many remasters and ports, though, because then it's like, well, where's the new content? We've all complained about how many remasters and ports of the last gen there are in the PS4 and Xbox One. And, like, I would be okay with Nintendo doing it a little bit, but I don't want them to get too caught up in it. Twilight Princess and Wind Waker is fine, because those games are very old, and they were, you know, standard definition from generations past. But doing all these games that just came out in the last 2 years, if you do too much too soon, it's like it's showing that you're not really working on new content, and that's what people want. So I think there's a very kind of tricky thing there. I have to say, the idea of a Xenoblade port is very exciting to me because I want people to play that amazing game, and I'd love to see it with even better graphics than it already has. However, I don't think it's going to happen. Mario Maker could, but it all comes down to if that's a touchscreen. And if that's a touchscreen, which it probably is, I think Mario Maker could probably only work in its portable form. I don't know how you could play it on your TV because you don't want to use a joystick. That's lame. I mean, Mario Maker's best because of that touchscreen. So it's weird that even though that one seems harder to port, I believe more in it than Xenoblade because I don't know that Xenoblade has an audience. But I'd love to see Nintendo make a push to get more people to play that. More people should play Smash and Mario Kart and all these things. And also, I kind of feel like maybe Bayonetta 2 could get a remaster or a port. I think that would be really awesome if Nintendo did it. I don't put much stock in that happening, but I think it'd be kind of cool. Okay, and the last couple of games that I want to talk about here in wrapping up are the big ones. Well, what I think are the big rumors, the most interesting ones to talk about. That's the Pokemon Stars game and the Pikmin 4 reboot thing. So Pokemon. Here's the reason I was excited about Pokemon. Not because I'm a Pokemon fan, because as you know, I'm not. I have nothing against it. I know a couple people watch videos and get in comment sections, and they lose their damn mind whenever I say that I'm not into Pokemon. I don't hate Pokemon. I'm fine with Pokemon. I love that Pokemon exists. It's popular. People love it. And I love that it's a Nintendo property because it helps Nintendo be successful, and I love Nintendo. So my non-interest in Pokemon is not meant to be an affront to any Pokemon fans. I think that's kind of weird to be offended by that. I'm not a Pokemon fan. I've never played a Pokemon game in my entire life. However, I knew that Pokemon was going to be a part of the Switch very early on in its life. I even made the case and the claim on a podcast many months ago that Pokemon was absolutely going to be present at the reveal. And to me, if we don't take the trailer as the actual reveal and we look at the January event as the reveal where Nintendo finally shows us and announces official games, release dates, prices, and all that, I think there's a 99% chance Pokemon will be in the January 12th event in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's this Pokemon Stars game, maybe it's a Switch version of Pokemon Go, or maybe it's something all brand new. But I knew that Pokemon was going to be a part of it, and so seeing this rumor about a Pokemon game kind of finally starting to float around within like the the nebulous atmosphere that is the Switch rumors. I love it because it makes me right, and I like being right. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that there could be something to that. Nintendo would be crazy not to capitalize on Pokemon with the Nintendo Switch. They're going to. It might not happen for another year, but I feel really good that it's going to happen way sooner, either at the reveal event or for the launch. Maybe this Pokemon game, whatever it is they're planning, is actually available the day that the system releases. That would be pretty cool. As to whether or not it's going to be this Pokemon Stars sort of side experience, this complementary experience to what Sun and Moon are, I have no dog in that fight. I have no input. I am not the Pokemon expert to be able to talk about if that makes sense to happen. It seems neat. It makes sense when I hear Pokemon fans talk about it, but I'm not going to kind of come down on one side or another. I just think Pokemon, the series, the Pikachus, and the Charmanders, and the Squirtles, that's going to be at the reveal event, and it's going to be very close to the launch because Nintendo is not stupid, and they're going to make a ton of money off of Pokemon. Pikmin is weird because I am such a Pikmin fan, it's insane. So this talk about it's not Pikmin 4, it's going to be a Pikmin reboot, I have very mixed feelings on. I do have to say the reason I like this rumor about a Pikmin game is it shows me that they might actually be making a Pikmin game for the Switch, a new home console Pikmin game. And we all know that the 3DS Pikmin game is coming very soon. I'm one of the few people that seems to be very excited for that game, but I am. I think it looks great. I can't wait to play a Pikmin game on my handheld. I don't mind that it's 2D. It's going to be great. But I definitely got worried that maybe that was the Pikmin game that Miyamoto quoted a year ago when he talked about, oh, the new Pikmin game is almost done. And then they showed us that. We all thought it was Pikmin 4 on console, and then they showed us that, and it's like, well, wait a minute. Is this the Pikmin game? Because for me, it's like, okay, that looks cool, but it's not the Pikmin game we wanted. We want Pikmin 4 on the console, on the Wii U or on the Switch. That's what we want. So seeing a rumor about a Pikmin game, regardless of what it is exciting because it's like, okay, maybe they are actually making this brand new sequel console game. But then they talk about a reboot, and it's like, I don't want a reboot. Pikmin doesn't need to be rebooted. The formula works amazingly, beautifully, perfectly the way it is. However, they might be rebooting it, if they were, because you can't use the Wii Remote with the Switch, and that's the best way to play is with the Wii Remote, and like the gamepad on Pikmin 3 was so good. And with no Wii Remote pointer controls, maybe they're worried about making the old Pikmin formula work well. It did work on the GameCube very well as well, but it evolved with the Wii Remote, and I feel like going backwards might be too much of a step back, and Nintendo doesn't want to do that. That's the only reason I could think of, because Pikmin doesn't need a reboot. What are they going to do to reboot Pikmin? If it's just Pikmin with a subtitle, it's not called Pikmin 4, but it's Pikmin with a subtitle, and it still plays like an old Pikmin game, that would be fine, and maybe that's why people think it's a reboot. But I honestly, at the end of the day, to just kind of get this thing a whole thing wrapped up here, is I'd rather it just be Pikmin 4. I want a sequel to 3. I want Olimar and Brittany and all these characters that we got to know. I want them to come back. I want to play it the way it's always been played. I like the strategy element of moving Pikmin here, Pikmin there. You got to throw them onto this. You got to control them and command them over here. It's an amazing way to play a game strategically, and it's beautiful visuals, and it's a fun world and great music and environments. I mean, I could just go on and on gushing about Pikmin. It doesn't need to change. That being said, very last point of the video, if they were going to give us a Pikmin game and reboot it in some way, shape, or form, whatever that means, I would still be excited because I believe in Nintendo. I believe they would do what they think is best, and I love that they would want to try something new. And I would give them a chance to sell me on why a different version of Pikmin is actually the better way to play it, or is going to be a good way to play it. Just like with the Switch, I was like, if it turns out to be what it is, I didn't love the idea of the tablet thing, but I was going to give Nintendo a chance to sell me on it. And so far, based on the trailer, I'm totally sold on it. So anything is possible. What's going to happen with Pikmin and Pokemon and the ports and all this crazy stuff? Freaking Mario Rabbids RPG? Who even knows, man? This is insane. But it's very interesting. Is Zelda going to make the launch, or is it going to not make the launch? Is Mario going to launch? Is Mario going to play in a game with Rabbids? Are they going to port 90% of the great games from the Wii U over to the Switch by launch day? Who knows, man? It's really interesting, and it was fun to come on and talk to you guys about it because I hadn't been able to make a video in a couple days. I've been really busy. And Metallica, of course, has kept me busy a little bit. So tell me what you think about all this stuff, guys. All the different ports from the Wii U, like the weirdness of Mario Maker and Xenoblade. What do you think about Zelda getting delayed, the Rabbids thing, Pikmin and Pokemon. What's going on with that? What do you guys think about all this stuff? You heard me discuss what's going on below. This is all rumor. You guys, none of this can be true. Just remember that none of this could be true. Or, as I like to say, all of it could turn out to be true. What a crazy world that would be, huh? So, anyway, thanks of course for tuning in, guys. I do always appreciate it. This is Rob of Rule 2 Review, and I will catch you guys next time on another video.